Do you worry about the cost of everyday items going up and are looking for ways to cut your day-to-day expenses? In this video, we're going to quick fire through 29 frugal strategies that you can adopt in your everyday life to save money. Being frugal is looking to get the best value from something, and being cheap is only focusing on the price and nothing else. A few years ago I bought a flat in London, and after trying to renovate it was heavily indebted, and so I had to adopt some of these strategies myself in order to get out of that debt hole. And a lot of these I continue to this day despite the debt being long settled. This is one which I don't see mentioned very often, and I don't really know why. Price comparison. When it comes to buying stuff, you need to be making sure that you're getting the best possible bang for your buck, and it's never been easier to do with sites like Money Supermarket and Compare the Market. You've never had more information available to make sure you're getting the right deal. A quick cautionary note, focusing on the cheapest might not always be the best, so make sure you're comparing like for like. If you're looking at home insurance, make sure you're looking at two policies that have similar levels of cover. Avoid brand loyalty. Sorry, Apple fanboys. Ultimately, brand loyalty doesn't get you anything. You don't get a discount from your next phone, and it's just not something that's worth doing. So make sure you're getting a product or service that does what you need it to do at the price that is competitive for you. Care for your car. Your warranty can ultimately be voided if you don't service your car at the prerequisite intervals, so make sure you're servicing it on time, and hopefully you'll save yourself from a large bill in future.
Care of the car will take care of you.
Thanks, Jason. Have a water bottle and coffee cup. Now, you don't have to be a Greta superfan to see that this is obviously a good idea. Lots of places will offer you cheaper coffee if you bring your own cup, and always having water. Who doesn't want to stay hydrated? Consider commuting costs. This is something I applied recently. I found that actually if I spent a little bit longer in the car when I'm getting to work, I can get a train that's slightly closer to my work, and it saves me a bunch of money. So when it comes to commuting, see if there are other ways, more creative ways, that you can really cut the cost of your commute. Related to this, another thing to look at can be discount cards. A good example is the Network Rail card. You get 30% off for all off-peak trains. So why not just have a chat with your manager? Say, hey, instead of doing 9:30 till 6, can I do 10 till 6:30? You'll find that the trains will be much cheaper, and you can get the added benefit of using your Network Rail card. Pay bills annually. In a previous video we've talked about how having a budget is really important, and if you are in a position where you're able to build some of these annual costs into your budget, then you can save anything from 5 to 20% on car insurance, home insurance. Have a savings goal and measure it. Saving is a good habit, even if you're not saving for something specific. Just because you don't need a new washing machine or you're not going on a holiday doesn't mean that you should stop saving. So have a goal in mind and have regular budget check-ins. Consider second-hand. Now, I was on the lookout for a Peloton bike and knew they're like 14 or 1500 quid. I found a used one just down the road, 400 quid, 500 quid, like a massive saving. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't need to be getting second-hand handkerchiefs and stuff like that, but there's some stuff where if it's used, it really doesn't matter. Be on the other side of this, sell your old stuff. You don't just need to buy used, but you can also sell. eBay, Vinted, these can all be really great sources. Some people even turn them into side hustles. I'm maybe a bit more dubious. Maybe I just don't have the eye for it. Snack before you shop. There's plenty of evidence to show that people who do their weekly grocery shop when they're hungry are more likely to be fanciful, and then are more likely to splurge on things that they don't need. So save your wallet and your waistline. Review your subscriptions. Now, just so we're very clear on this, I am not saying that if you cut your Netflix subscription or you give up your coffee in the morning that you'll be able to move into a mansion. Like, that's just fanciful boomer nonsense. What I am saying is that if you have a subscription that you don't use anymore, just cancel it. Easily done. Read the small print on offers. This was something I fell foul of recently. I signed up to a magazine, a weekly, and it was £1 for 6 weeks. I thought, lovely, only cost me £1. But then what I didn't read is that actually once that period expired, it then signed you up to a full 12 months. And I was just like, well, I don't want to pay for a full 12 months. So always reading the small print to make sure you don't get hoorayed into these things is always worth doing. Meal plan. Now, I saw this woman on TikTok who literally spends like 2 days a month, and she does every single meal. She bulk buys everything in little tubs, like the whole bit, the whole 9 yards, massive chest freezer, and then meals for the week or meals for the month done. You don't necessarily have to go that far, but I think just having a weekly shop, knowing what you're going to eat when, making sure that you're not overbuying, making sure you're just wasting less food, worthwhile, easy to do, and can save you a lot of money. Borrow or rent rather than buy. Now, as you might have noticed in other videos, I must confess I'm kind of lazy when it comes to DIY tasks, and my immediate inclination is to try and farm it out to a professional, and I tell myself, you know, they're a professional, they'll do it properly. But when it came to pressure washing the driveways, I got a few quotes and it was a few £100s. I thought, oh, actually, this is a job that I can do myself. So I went to buy a pressure washer, like £300 or something. I was like, no, doesn't make sense. And then I looked to rent one. like 25 quid for the day, ideal. Even better, spoke to next door but one to us, used his pressure washer, cost me nothing. Don't ask, don't get sort of mentality. Haggle. Now, in the vein of don't ask, don't get,
Just haggling over price.
I think there are some things, you don't have to go like full Del Boy and be negotiating with the checkout machine at Tesco for like 20p off your crisps or something, but there are definitely some stuff which I think are open to haggling. Used cars, car insurance, new cars, all of those sorts of things. And rewards, unbelievably, this isn't a paid ad, but I found the Tesco Club card is free to sign up, and actually on our weekly shops it actually makes quite a big difference. I had to get some teething gel for my youngest, who's 6 months old, and it was like £8.50 or something, but with a club card it was like a fiver or £6. A lot of the time you don't have to be like one of these lunatics who's got like a filofax of loyalty cards, but just having loyalty cards for where you shop at regularly, it can start to make a difference. Credit cards. Now, you could just hear the other finance YouTubers going, credit cards, but my view is, if you're using a credit card to pay for stuff, very often you'll be protected under consumer protection laws. Little hack that I read on from Martin Lewis was, if you're going to buy a car or you're going to lease a car, then if you pay the admin fee, like a £99 admin fee or something, on your credit card, then that protects the whole purchase. So if you have a problem with the car or something like that, basically it's for the person who sold you the car and the credit card company to go at it. So it can be a really useful way of actually protecting yourself. However, should you not pay it off in full every month, you will get charged absolutely through the nose for interest. Knowing when to spend more, we did another video on this, link just here or something. I think I've always arrived at the conclusion that there are some things where it's worth spending a bit of extra money. You know, it's going for that frugal rather than cheap mentality. The examples I used in the video were buying work clothes, someone who's smartly turned out I think will always stand out, but the skill really is identifying when it's worth spending a bit of extra money to get something that is better quality. Don't give in to the rollover. This is linked to the haggling point from earlier, but your car insurance, home insurance, blah, 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 all these other things, they are praying, they are hoping, and especially free trials, they've got their fingers crossed that actually, where it comes to renewal, that you're just going to go, oh yeah, it'll be fine. And you get a bill and you just go, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. No. If you signed up for a free trial, then, and you don't need it, then make sure you cancel the free trial. But also when your new home insurance quote comes through, give them a ring up and say, well, hang on, why has it gone up 20%? My house isn't 20% bigger, it isn't 20% more valuable, not in this day and age. Keeping on top of those sorts of things I think is really important and can save you tons of money, like especially car insurance. Practice the delayed gratification rule. Delayed gratification is basically just putting something off and sacrificing something in the short term for the benefit in the long term. In the context of personal finance, that's not buying absolutely everything you want now, but choosing to save and invest that money for sunnier retirement. And so the rule you hear often is wait 24 hours before you make a purchase. Now, this is what I find so annoying because it depends on the context. If you're going to buy a Mars bar at a petrol station because you're driving to see your mum and dad or something, then I don't think you need to wait 24 hours to buy a Mars bar. But just walk around the shop, 60 seconds, do I really need this? Do I really want this? Yeah, fine. But if you're going to buy a car, 24 hours I would say generally is insufficient. Make sure you're parting with your money in a sensible way, and that's where the value that you're getting is going to be proportional to the price that you're paying for it. That's the key thing for me. Get paid more. Easy to say, hard to do. What's the expression on this? If you can't tighten the belt so much you won't be able to breathe. I think invariably you'll reach a stage where you can't cut your costs anymore, businesses can't cut their costs anymore, so you have to find ways of making more money. Now, we have a video on this, link is somewhere around here, but just adopting some of those principles, like when it comes to your annual pay review, making sure you're negotiating, maybe it's you're starting a side hustle, these things are all worth doing and ultimately gives you just a bit more breathing room. Discounted retailers. You see article after article about shopping at discounted retailers saves however much on your weekly shop. In my experience, it's worth doing. Now, a lot of the bigger supermarkets are also doing these guaranteed price matches, so the gain may not be as much as you think, but I think there are certain items where unequivocally Lidl, Aldi, those sorts of stores can be much cheaper. Trade services with people. Now, this is one which I don't see mentioned very often, and I don't really know why. Like, it's such a good idea. So we have friends who are estate agents, so when it comes to selling our house, we will use them. We will get mates rates from them. And in exchange, I help them out with their accounts. They're self-employed. And so just finding people who you can trade those sorts of things with, I think makes a really big difference. It makes loads of sense. Neither of you need to part with any cash, but you're both getting something that you need. Knowing when to buy in bulk. Now, we've all seen these like prepper types who have 20,000 tins of baked beans all stored in a basement and a canoe and a TIG welder because they think the end of the world is coming, like from The Last of Us or something. You don't necessarily have to go down that route, and I think generally, for the most part, bulk buying and stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Knowing what to buy and when to buy it in bulk, just, it can help, but I think often it's overstated. Keeping an eye on your spending. Now, this one, it's like watching a cat trying to do trigonometry. I've never understood this. All of this, saving and putting money away and doing this and that, is all for nothing, ultimately, if you're not tracking your spending. If by you cut back on some of your subscriptions, is it actually making a material difference to your monthly position? Is it actually helping you to save money in the longer term? The amount of effort that you're expending is proportionate to the amount of money that you're saving. Don't listen to the doomers. Now, this space in particular is awash with the economy is going to collapse, blah, 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 like, real Mad Max type stuff. My inclination generally is to block out a lot of that noise. You don't necessarily have to believe everything you see on YouTube or what you read on Twitter, and it can really start to panic you about what's worth spending money on, or if it's worth spending money at all, and you should be trading it for gold, which is under your bed. Just keep all these things in perspective. And the last one is travel on a budget. I think this one is particularly important. Holidays should be experiences that you want to remember, and so I have zero regrets when it comes to spending a bit more money to have a slightly nicer time. All the evidence suggests that actually spending money on experiences rather than things ultimately gives you much longer lasting satisfaction, much longer lasting happiness than buying a Rolex or something. This, not a Rolex. But just make sure that you're really thinking about this in the longer term plan. I was in a cab once coming back from work, my car was broken, and the guy was telling me he spent 18 grand on a 2-week holiday to Mexico, and I was just like, gee, good grief, like, that's a lot of money to spend on a 2-week holiday. Now, he said it was worth it, fine, good for him, but it's a lot of money to lay out, and what else could that money do? That could be property ladder money, a whole host of other things. Opportunity cost is key. So this is our second video in the Saving Money series, so make sure if you want to really sort of build on this, make sure you're looking at the right strategies. The previous video looks at the strategies. These are some of the more practical tips, so make sure you're clicking this link here or somewhere to watch that video as well, and make sure you're subscribed. Our next video is going to be about finance lessons I wish someone had told me earlier, so make sure you don't miss out. Thanks very much for watching. This has been another episode of Modern Money Talk, where we talk all things personal finance, personal development related. Have we missed something? Comment down below. How do you save money? And don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.